You're listening to the Life of Lozo podcast.
We are live here at Life of Lozo.
He is the funniest, smartest, sexiest guy I know.
Lozo is now live.
Yo, on this episode, we podcast in a car on the way back from South Florida. I welcome Mike back to the show, and Daniel joins us as we discuss all things aliens. Mike's really hoping for Face Eating Monsters, and Daniel wants to interview them. Hashtag balls in your court aliens. Thank you to our sponsors, Stay Tuned Studios, The Taylor Shop Inc., 03 Productions, The Beat Brigade, Rhyme Designs Clothing, Ronz Guitars, The Music Experience, Custom Shirts and more, The Art of Kyle Willis, TheMishmash.com, and of course, Jack's Nutrition. Let's go. Yo, Life of Lozo podcast. We are car podcasting on the way back up from South Florida. I got my boy Mike and my boy Daniel in the car, in the truck with me.
Mobile podcast central.
Mobile podcast central. So we got some road noise, and we're in the what kind of truck is this?
It's a F-150 XLT FX4 four-wheel drive 2017 Ford Special in magnetic gray.
Elemental P, supercalifragilistic.
Right.
19.
That's a lot of words.
Yeah.
Did I give you the VIN number here in a minute?
But did I hear a niner?
Calling you from my CB radio.
So we on the ride down to South Florida, we watched the Joe Rogan podcast with Tom DeLonge, all about aliens and all the work that he's doing with what is it, the To the Stars Academy of Arts and Crafts.
Just remember, kids, don't watch YouTube podcasts while you drive on the turnpike at 80 miles an hour. Not recommended.
Yeah, thank you for the safety warning. That's correct. We were listening. We were listening, right? We were listening. And so we just got done eating some Rocco's Tacos in was that Palm Beach area? What was that?
Yep, Palm Beach Gardens.
Nice. And we're driving back now, and so we want to talk about aliens. So Mike is on the show, and Mike had been on a previous episode when we talked about the 80s, if you recall, but Mike was in the background, didn't have much to say. We got a couple of jokes in on him, and everybody was like, dude, what's up? How come that dude didn't have a microphone? And I was like, nobody did. We actually had this exact recorder on the table, and just Mike was off to the side. So now you get to actually talk about some aliens. How's that sound?
I'm glad to talk about aliens, and I have more context than from the 3 years of life I had in the last episode, beyond my Huggies, Pampers, and Oshkosh Bagosh.
I'm just excited that we're going to get to talk about a topic that none of us are at all like measured scholars on.
Not at all, right?
I think
when we listened to like 2 hours of Joe Rogan and Tom DeLonge, like we must know more than
X-Files.
Yeah.
I've watched X-Files.
I did watch X-Files.
I liked Harrison Ford in Cowboys vs. Aliens.
I like Signs. Signs was
I like
dope.
Mars Attacks. Mars Attacks is pretty good.
We bring you no harm. So I guess what we'll do is we'll start the show and just kind of like where are we at right now on like, do we believe in aliens, number one? We'll just kind of start there, and then we'll let this conversation spiral out of control. So Mike, give it to us. Do you believe in aliens, yes or no?
I'm going to go with yes.
Okay, we got a yes here. And we're talking about like from another planet, or like one's trying to get over the wall that we haven't built yet.
Well, I met an alien. The nicest alien I ever met, his name was Humberto. But
Isn't that
I'm
why
talking
we
about
went to,
I'm talking about like out of this world aliens.
Okay, all right.
I thought that's why we were at Rocco's Tacos. I was getting names. I was interviewing people.
Research.
Yeah.
We're not talking Home Depot parking lot.
I thought we were boots to the ground on this.
You know the funny Yeah, exactly.
I thought
right.
we were the front line.
Yeah.
Never mind. I guess just having some chips and salsa. This took a wrong turn.
It's all right though. We're just getting going. So
I do believe in aliens.
Okay.
Simply because, I think most people that believe in aliens fall back on the idea of the universe is really big. Mm-hmm. We have no idea what's out there. So let's just default on the optimistic idea that maybe there's something there rather than, nah, no way it's happening.
Okay.
Yeah,
no, I'm with that. I think, I mean, just a life form not of this planet, you kind of have to say yes a little bit just because it's so much out there and there's so many things going on.
Well, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, there is so many things beyond even the scope of what we can see, hear, feel, whether satellite, telescope, whatever. I couldn't imagine that beyond that, there's absolutely nothing that exists in any capacity that has some form of life.
Okay. All right, I'll take that. I'll take that for $1. So now that we've all said yes, okay, this will make the conversation much easier now, since we already kind of agreed to begin with. So when we think of aliens, so are you of the thought that they are like the little green men or the grays? Like, do you believe that that's kind of what aliens are? Or do you think that's some made-up comic book movie crap?
I think that the first aliens that we will encounter will be just at a like microbiotic level. Like, I think that we're going to be on Mars, we're going to be drilling for something, we're going to find like a single-celled organism, and that's going to be the alien that we find. It's not going to be someone who's saying, hey, I can speak English pretty clearly, can't you tell? And we're about to go on an adventure. That's, as much as I'd like that to happen.
Okay.
No, see, I'm hoping for like Ripley, and
yeah, there it is.
That's what I'm hoping for. So I'm going the exact opposite.
Wait, you're hoping for that?
Yeah, I want like
that's a horror movie.
No, I want
it's
like
a bad
the face-eaten, like come to destroy. That's what I'm hoping for, because a microorganism that does nothing.
He goes Close Encounters of the Third Kind, E.T. style, like
no,
friendly.
E.T. soft. I want like face-eating face aliens.
Okay, so just to battle them, or just sort of just like, okay, now we're talking?
I mean, if you're gonna find it, like, find something worth finding. What's the best animal in the ocean? It's a great white shark, because it will destroy everything else in its path.
I feel like a lot of this is subjective. of all the
scientific
creatures
facts
in the ocean,
Listen,
the great
we
white
are
shark.
well researched in like 80s and 90s sci-fi.
I don't get that.
And that is
I don't
as
think it's a great
much-
white shark. I
that is
think
as
it's
much
the
as I
sperm
need to
whale,
know.
because I can't
You
say it
would
with a
think it's
straight
sperm
face.
whale.
I can't say it without giggling.
Okay, so talk about sperm whales. So let's talk about anal probing from aliens. So do you
Balls in your court,
Yeah,
Daniel.
balls in your court was the name of our trivia team last night.
That's true. No apostrophe.
No apostrophe. Balls in your court. And so So do you think at all? We've talked a little bit. So like, do you think that like aliens visit this planet, or have visited this planet, or like are doing tests on humans, or?
I think that there's a lot of unexplainable things. I mean, you look at Stonehenge, you look at the pyramids, you look at crop signs that actually are a documented thing.
It's all fake.
It's all fake. It's all fake. It's just, people that are trying to sell some more crops.
That's right.
Look, the ones that aren't missing are for sale. So while you're here. But there's enough stuff throughout history that people have just kind of chalked up to, oh well. Like how, I mean, just listening to that rabbit hole of a Joe Rogan episode, it had a lot of, amidst some of the more outlandish comments, there was some facts that were grounded in a real question that you kind of have to look at and say, well, I couldn't answer that. No one else has been able to.
Right.
And then he'd say something sort of nuts. But I think that's what makes someone believe that kind of stuff is, I think I told you earlier, you put enough facts in there, you put enough truths, then it starts to blur the lines, and then you start to believe things that might be a little over the top.
Right. Okay.
Well, I look at it from, like, what's the possibility? Now, do I believe that people are coming down, getting abducted, all this kind of crazy talk you hear in the Midwest cornfield towns? No. I don't believe any of that stuff. I think it's people doing a lot of meth and moonshine and like visualizing things. Like, bath salts don't mean alien abduction. But is there a possibility of some things? Maybe, but I don't think it would be anything like what we equate as to like a sci-fi movie crop circle kind of deal. I think it's more in it's similar to what they shared in like the podcast from Tom DeLonge, more in the technological realm. I don't know what that may or may not be, but I at least don't believe that it's the fanatical like UFO guy sitting in a field in Nevada with a long range camera saying this is for sure an alien.
Yeah. Well, I think it's one of those, like, to me it's either there's nothing to it, or it's like huge, right? Like either it's just like, noise in the system and people tripping or whatever the thing is, or like that aliens that are here are actually like, you know, like in control of things. You know what I mean? Like there's intent there. Like they're actually, they're not doing like these silly trip ups of like, oh, I got caught. Oh, I crashed in the middle of New Mexico, right? They're actually like overseeing, you know, the Earth as a whole. So like that's where I'm at. It's like I'm one extreme or the other. I don't think
That's real extreme.
No, what I was saying though, is like I think that there's either nothing going on and it's all just, you know, whatever, movies and thoughts and silly stuff and random things, or there's like a true larger thing going on to, you know, to impact the progression of the Earth and the human race and stuff like that. I don't know if there's like a middle ground of, you know, massive technology where they can travel the universe and time warp and, you know, the fabric of space, and then they can't, you know, they can't land their ship and they smash in the ground. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Well, this is really going to mess with your mind.
All right.
Theoretically, the idea of time travel has more or less been discussed by like prominent like physicists, like Albert Einstein. He would talk about it. Interstellar is actually based on a lot of grounded truths, and then they took some liberties, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea that, you know, if you look at like Murphy's Law and the ability for us to advance 10 times every year in technology. Moore's Law, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Murphy's Law means I'm going to mess up that fact.
That fact, right?
Yeah.
The most logical thing is that.
Can't go wrong, won't go wrong.
Yeah.
Moore's Law. But then looking at that, hundreds of years from now even, what if someone just discovers it? What if the more advanced race that's an alien is just us later on? That's sort of trippy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like we're so far advanced that we actually came back.
In which case,
Yeah.
the aliens do speak English,
Oh.
and they can take us on adventures. And
Oh.
I was right the whole time.
And it's Howard the Duck. Okay, cool.
Oh,
Man,
God.
see, I look at it from wow. So I don't go anywhere near that extreme because my brain just works very logically. But it's more for me like a desire that something else does exist out of curiosity.
That's gonna eat
so,
your face.
Well, yeah. I want something cool to be out there, but no.
You're gonna get like half a second of like,
right.
yo, that's cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Done.
Look at them.
It's more of like the build of all of the thing, like sci-fi stuff as a kid and everything else, where like there's just this curiosity for something else beyond like what's on our planet, which makes me want it to exist. Now, what that may be or what I believe it is, I have no founded saying this or that or the other, but I just want it to be.
Just something, and not something that you have to look at in a microscope.
No, I don't want it to be something that it's like we found this microorganism that you have to have a $6 million microscope in order to see. Right. I want still the face-eating thing.
or Alf.
Or Alf. Yeah,
Alf is fine, too.
I can deal with that. Oh, Alf.
Ah!
Plenty of cats.
That was a good one. That was a good Alf laugh.
All right. Okay. So, in your lifetime, have you or does anybody that you know had any type of an alien conspiracy type of experience or thought or involvement in anything crazy?
I don't think we're that cool.
No?
I think the closest thing I had to that was my brother and I both saw the same ghost holding a knife coming at us. We both saw the same thing at the same time.
Wow.
When I was like 5 years old. And then 10 minutes later realized it was a curtain across the room that took a weird shape. That's about the closest I've come to seeing something I shouldn't have, that I didn't, in fact.
Yeah. Okay.
No, but I haven't had a family member
No?
or anyone that I've really heard of. I mean, I'm from Nashville, Tennessee originally, so I had heard some stories from people from the mountains. But I think we have to tack that up to the same folks with too much moonshine.
Yep. Okay. All right, Mike.
No encounters for me, but I'm from Florida, where like it's the Florida man. Like every guy you see on Cops that had some weird expressions from Florida, so you hear
They
all
see
kinds
aliens,
of weird stuff.
but it's from the meth.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But my mom actually, she dated a guy that was an engineer for Lockheed Martin when I was growing up, like middle school age. And a lot of the things that he would tell me that maybe shouldn't tell me about, like missile tests and airplane tests and all this stuff in New Mexico, I know that they would actually have a team of people that would go and try to clear off those people that were taking pictures, because they were testing ballistic missiles, laser guidance systems, and stealth bombers, and a lot of that type of stuff would end up showing up on these like UFO reports. So that was the closest I got to that, but knowing like when and where the test, not exactly where, but like when and where, in what state those tests were going on, was a lot of, and then how much they spent trying to get people away from there to not take any pictures, evidence, whatever, because they weren't necessarily worried about UFOs. They were worried about someone like documenting the technology that they were testing from a military standpoint.
Yeah, no, I think probably the majority, I would say, of like UFO sightings in the sky, I would chalk up to like some type of a technology test or aircraft or things like that. That
it's always a weather balloon.
Always.
Always a weather balloon. That's actually how Roswell. Is it Roswell? Is that what this is called?
Well, Roswell.
Area 51.
Yeah. No. Roswell, yes, like that. Where they turned the first article was that the Air Force was there. There was a dead alien body. There was parts of a spaceship.
Yes, okay, yeah,
and then the next day it was like, nope, it was a weather balloon. Psych.
Yeah. Well, that's how Area 51 also, like, a guy found parts on, like, and he couldn't understand it on the field, and they were like, oh, weather balloon, and then it was all gone also the next day.
Yeah. A lot of
nearby.
that.
Yeah. It's always a weather balloon. I've never seen a weather balloon. But I just know if I do, I'm in trouble, apparently. Like, stuff's about to go down.
Well, they said, like, that one specific to Roswell, I think the explanation was that there were things they were doing that they were launching over to, like, China or something. Like, these real tall, long, like, almost cylindrical style, not like they look like aluminum foil. I don't know what the material was, but that they were meant to go like really long distances and go high up into the atmosphere. It's like that was kind of the declassified things that came out afterward. It said like, this is why they said weather balloon. This is what they actually looked like. This was the color they were. They were really tall and kind of weird. And they thought maybe there was a mannequin in it and they got melted. You know what I mean? Like that's what people thought was an alien. I don't know. But okay.
To that point, I think from like, if you want to go like conspiracy right hand turn, I think a lot of the stuff that make it confused, to your point, is the testing of whatever systems they're trying to go and gain information with, because that in my mind would be the thing they try to keep the most secret. If you're going to send a satellite to China to get misinformation or either give misinformation, you're not going to want anybody to know about that. And if you have a test where something goes wrong, it would be easy to say UFO versus we're doing some shit we're not supposed to do.
Right.
So I don't know what those two lines blur across, but that's kind of how I think about it.
Okay.
I'm actually reading about alien abductions the whole time we've been talking. I've been freaked out. This is some crazy stuff.
Well, I think from a technology standpoint too, like part of the podcast that actually got me the most interested was when Tom was talking about what they were able to do with the cube satellites. Is that what they called? CubeSats?
Yeah. CubeSats.
And how they were able to leverage lasers to launch them into the air versus having like a fossil fuel propulsion system. Like that to me was really, really interesting. And whether that's alien or not, like I just want to see it happen.
Well, that's what I went and looked at that video right after I heard the podcast the first time, and that's what I saw. These guys were out in some scientific thing or whatever, and they were using the laser from the Star Wars, the 1980s, like Ronald Reagan satellite missile whatever thing, right? That they were using those lasers that were built for that. And they were, shooting them directly at these little spinning, kind of like cylindrical tops that they were spinning, and they would shoot at the bottom, and then the gas or the air, whatever the hell was in there, was igniting and pulsing. They were launching these things, 40, 50, 60, 100 feet into the air. And they're small. Like they were, like maybe 14 inches tall and, not that big at all, but that was the whole concept. But this is a real thing they're doing. What'd you find?
This one is extremely compelling only because, because I've read a couple of them and I'm just going through them. Yeah, you sound crazy. Yeah, you sound crazy. But look at this. In 1974, John Day, who was with his wife and kids, took a trip that they take constantly between family that takes an hour and a half. When they got home and put their kids asleep, they realized that 4 hours had passed and they couldn't explain why the drive lasted more than twice what it should have for no reason. Like, that blows my mind. Then they all started having, the whole family, terrible nightmares for days
Ooh.
and then weeks, everyone in the family, until finally he agreed, because his wife pushed him to go to, under hypnosis because they couldn't remember what could have happened. And under hypnosis, he talked about driving to a bright mist, descending into a nearby field that shot up the car, and a metal arm swinging over him as he was being pinched and poked by sharp objects.
Oh. I mean, that sounds like a fun Saturday night, but I mean, I could make 4 hours disappear.
Ooh.
Pinched and poked for 4 hours. I mean, if it's on the internet, it's got to be true.
It's gotta be.
Did Abraham Lincoln write that?
Well, Essex, yeah, I remember. So it was a British guy, so he was telling the truth.
Oh yeah, okay, that's it. Constable.
Constable, yeah. But that'd be quick, like
Constable's responsible.
like right now, we're supposed to arrive at 10 p.m. What if nothing changed, but we looked at the clock and it was 2 a.m.?
I would ask, did you bring the adult diaper from your
Exactly, right?
outfit last night?
Yes. How many pinches and prods are we talking?
There's so much narrative missing from this that I don't want to go into. That I don't want to go into. But I mean,
Daniel, what happens in Fort Lauderdale stays in Fort Lauderdale for the most part.
Right.
and it's going to. I just feel like there's a lot of people that have experiences they can't explain, so it's like must have been an alien. But even if it was, like right now, if we arrived at like 1 a.m. and then we started having nightmares, I think there'd be a pact between the three of us. Say, we're just not going to talk about it. We're just not going to talk about it.
It never happened.
It never happened. For some reason we wake up in a field and it's dry everywhere, and except we're soaking wet and our car is floating in the air. I'd just be like, whatever. It was the sushi.
What did they put in the sushi?
Yeah.
So then are we across the board of like that a craft has not crashed? We have not gotten technology from aliens, or do you think that there's some elements of truth to how we've gotten our technology, or is it all just the Moore's law?
I'm gonna go just advancements in technology, because we haven't made leaps that are so significant that they would that they're almost inexplicable. Like right now, if someone had like a plasma drive or a warp drive or something that allowed us to travel faster than the speed of light, like now, yeah, that would make sense. We found something. Yeah. Just because we're still significantly far from anything like that. But everything has sort of evolved over time in the same way that Civilization game would play in my computer. Yeah. It's like you're going through time at a natural pace. It feels what's really interesting to me is like what's next.
Yeah.
So we're in the information age.
Yep.
What are they going to call the next age? Like, what is that going to be? Is it going to be the space age? Because that'd be pretty cool. Is it going to be the aliens sucking my face off age, which is in Mike's diary of hopes? I don't know.
Yeah. What do you think, Mike?
I don't think that we've. If there has been some kind of alien technology crash, I'm not buying it. And the reason is simply because I just don't think we're that good at keeping secrets. And something, whether it was information or misinformation, whatever, that they tried to hide something, someone's going to talk about it. Someone's going to say something to someone that they shouldn't have, especially now when it like one person has the power to reach millions of people in one social media post. It's really, really tough to keep secrets.
Aliens are real.
Aliens are real.
Great. They love me. They're my biggest fan.
I'm going Moore's Law as well.
Okay. All right. So
what about you? You got to answer the question.
Yeah. Oh man. I think the hardest part for me is I think like some of these old lost civilizations and like their ability to document things and explain things extremely accurately, like with like the impossibility of that actually happening, right? So like we talked a little bit about the pyramids, things like that, talking about like like Atlantis, the lost city. Like there's things from an explanation or from it's almost like it's hard to believe that people could spend years looking at the night sky and then figuring out the constellations and like where the planets are and that type of stuff. There just seems to be like some little pieces of hints that are dropped or little bits of information that we can't explain, or like how would somebody that, or how would a people that primitive be able to accomplish these things? So like
you're talking about
like Sumeria.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
where they have a map of the solar system,
Right.
like carved in or made in clay,
Right.
essentially.
Sun and all the
Or whatever.
planets. Right.
Yeah. I also, it's like an explanation of that type of thing without having any modern technology is definitely difficult. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how to answer that question.
The thing,
Other than that's weird.
but then I know in what we were listening to, the Tom DeLonge, how do you say DeLonge or DeLonge? DeLonge put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Yeah. Exactly.
He'll say something like that, which makes sense. You're like, wow, how did they do that? But then he'll go and say, and that ancient civilization, which had a few stay back who eventually deserted, were actually the Greek gods. And then I'm like, all right, well, I saw Disney's Hercules, and Danny DeVito as a goat did not stay around and make that civilization. But it's a compelling reason, and like I said, enough facts sprinkled in, enough untruths make it so that you don't know what to believe. And if you are to believe a lot of what he was saying, then that's almost the purpose. If you sort of blur the narrative, then that allows you to control the message. But who's controlling the message? Who's behind this? Is there like a United Nations Council for crap we don't want people to hear that we keep secret, and they're all just in it together?
Well, but here's the other thing for me. Like, I thought the podcast was really interesting, and from an entertainment value, it was
my
great.
God.
And his company ultimately is an entertainment company.
Right.
So knowing that, like, what's the true driver?
So he's a genius.
behind this information that you're sharing, and while and I haven't done any research into anything that he said, so it could very well all be true. It could very well all be total and complete bullshit.
It's just,
but
it turns into this like national treasure hunt
Exactly.
where you like go on the website, you read some books, you watch all these videos. It turns into this like hunt that everyone's trying to find the truth, and like 15 years from now, someone finds it like in a field and uncovers this box, and inside is this Blink-182 albums. It's just, that was his whole goal the whole time.
well, but I mean, from an entertainment standpoint,
I think it's called
like,
Mormonism.
it worked.
Yeah.
We are talking about his podcast right now, so his mission was successful.
Yeah.
At least getting people to talk about it. But I mean, whatever. From an entertainment value is good. Now, if he has all these guys that he says he has, and some he names, some he says he can't, then there's got to be something to that. I just don't know what it is.
Right. Yeah.
I couldn't tell if Joe Rogan is just a great host or if he was like starting to bite. Because he was asking all the right questions. Like, okay, but who said that? Okay, but how do you know that? But why wouldn't they just do it themselves? Or why, like really grounded factual questions, which literally it would pop in my head and he would say it, which helped, but still led to nowhere.
I think it's all like Fifth Element. That's what I think is like
Dallas multipass?
Yeah, absolutely multipass. It's all about the multipass.
Come on, my man. Come in.
I just it's interesting, man. There's so many things that again that make sense, and that after the quote unquote Roswell crash and the Cold War stuff, like all the laws that became in the different government breakoffs into the CIA and stuff like that. Like there was something happened that caused a lot of action to happen.
If you could ask one question to an alien who had just, I don't know, sucked you up to its ship, and it's like, what's up, man? I just brought you here to like hang out and answer your questions. Well, what would you ask?
I would ask Alien Bro, because that's what he sounds like.
It's Matthew McConaughey as an alien.
Man, I got one question.
Well, the first question.
Okay.
You can ask as many as you want.
Well, shit.
He brought you up for a dinner party.
I'm up for dinner. What's for dinner?
And then you had one question.
Yeah. The cookbook. It's for cooking humans. I would say like what. Man, it would probably be around like the purpose of mankind. Like clearly, like if it's that type of an alien with that type of ability and access, like I want to get right to the chase. Like what the hell are we here for? Like are we farm animals? You know what I mean? Like are we just down here like just trying to like make stuff, or is like there's another purpose to this? Or it's probably where I'd start. kind of go from there.
Yeah, I'd go. What's your purpose? Because if it's the face-sucking aliens that I think they might be, like, what is your purpose? Am I in the fight or flight mode, and I'm not built for flight? So we need to equalize the load on this ship. In addition to, like, am I going to have to try to fight you, which I will likely lose, but I'm going to try real hard anyway.
Right.
So what are you going to do right now?
All right.
Well, you guys kind of took my questions, so I'll go with number 3. Are lightsabers real? Can you make me one?
Wah, wah, wah.
I think you guys underestimate how big a nerd I am.
Yeah. Hit him with a nanu.
I think you don't know what that would do for me in my life. I'd just walk around with it, probably hurt myself, but whatever.
Yeah. But you'd have one.
I'd have one.
Which is all that matters.
Yeah, that's how you get popular.
Okay. If you could design, I mean, we kind of know Mike's already kind of explained, but if you could design the perfect alien that you'd want to see, besides the face-eating skills, what do you think an alien should look like?
I have a hard time believing that an alien would resemble in any form or fashion us as organic entities. Like, for instance, I remember my first real existential crisis was probably like 14, good Catholic boy growing up. We're different from everyone, the plants and the animals are here for us, And I remember thinking, then why is that dog doing exactly what I do, but I just have a fancier place to put it? Like, what differentiates me from animals? We have eyes and we all poop and we all, like, I don't get it, right? So for me to really feel like something would be like otherworldly from a different, galaxy completely, I'd want something, not like a glowing light, but something that doesn't resemble us in any way, with limbs and hands. I don't know, maybe they're telekinetic and telepathic and it's just like an orb. I don't know, something weird like that.
Okay, all right.
I call them Orby.
Option 2, Predator.
Oh, God. Are you just going to
Those
go...
are the only 2 options that
Are you just going to go through every, death alien through cinema?
Fact.
Okay.
I want heat tracking laser, shoot your face off, or stab you with the retractable claw Wolverine type of deal. Like, that's option 2.
How much popcorn are you eating when the aliens arrive?
Yeah.
Man, come on, man. Like, this thing's got to be cool.
Yeah, it's all like, human thoughts would be that, I think, to Daniel's point, like, that it should not resemble us whatsoever, just because we're bought into this idea that, like, our gravity, carbon-based life forms, oxygen, like, all these things are unique to our planet and stuff like that. But it's also interesting because, what a lot of scientists say is that the highest likelihood for us finding, life on another planet is a planet like ours. Which, if that's the case, then the reality is that it would be something that would be similar to us.
Maybe, because they're basing that off life as they know it.
Mm-hmm.
What is the definition of life on another planet? I guess is the real question.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, if it's an alien on an alien planet, we don't know what the atmosphere was that they adapted into. So, like, for instance, you look like a gaseous planet, like, like a Saturn, right? Or, something to live there would have to be like nothing we've ever seen. Or even Mars. I mean, Mars, because if it's heat and cold, you'd have to be incredibly resilient. So if we were to meet an alien, I think it would have some sort of like suit or outward like exo armor or something that would allow it to be in the same atmosphere as us. Just like we probably couldn't go to their planet.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Or it's a single-celled organism.
Okay. Do you
Mike's answers are way more fun. Can we just go with Mike's answers? My next answer, I'm just going to talk about E.T. and Elliot's, whole thing. And
No glowing finger, like stabbing faces. You're doing it wrong.
Have you been on the ride at Universal?
I have. It's frightening.
Yeah.
When you go to E.T.'s planet and all of them speak English and they sing a song?
Yeah, it's more horrifying than anything
in neon multicolor, that is your alien future.
And then you get to the end of the ride and he goes, Michael.
This is everyone's name. Michael.
Daniel.
Could he say your name?
No. Hispanic name. I get like Lawrence.
Oh, he hurt your feelings when you were a kid?
Yeah, well, it's because like every name in his database is from a 1980s sit-go keychain wall. Of
You got upset about it.
That's all it
Which
is.
Lorenzo did not exist.
Did not exist, right?
Were you like, ouch?
Ouch. Yeah. The funniest part though is like so my two daughters, Alora, you know, when she was like first getting up to like the high chair at the table, you know, it's like having a baby in a high chair. You have fun and they make faces and stuff and you feed them. So I would do this thing when she started to like use her hands and fingers to like pick up little foods, where I would like take a finger and like point it at her. And she thought it was hysterical, and then so she got good at like pointing her finger back at me. So I do it to this day, where I just pick one finger out and I go Elliot, right? And she gets her finger out and we touch fingers, and she starts laughing. She has no idea, right, where that's coming from, but it's funny to everybody else, right?
That's pretty good.
Okay.
I think a lot of what we think about aliens is shaped by cinema. So I mean, that's why we think like the big black eyes and like that teardrop shaped like gray head and those metallic suits. Yeah. I'm trying to think of like a movie or something that did it really well that made you think like what could that be?
Like what it could be differently, or like within that frame.
I you know, if I saw aliens, maybe it would be like that.
Yeah.
There was one recently, that Amy Adams movie that was pretty good, where they had like the floating alien ships off the ground. That was pretty good. I still think Interstellar is the best sort of interaction with, you know, out of this world universal concepts.
What was the one? Wasn't it Holly Hunt? Wasn't she in one? Where like they had I think it was Holly Hunt. I don't remember her name. I think so. It was the one where they dropped the ball through the spinning cycle thing, and they were they'd gotten instructions on how to build a machine to fly humans away.
Oh my God.
And like the whole punchline at the end was that
Jodie Foster.
Jodie Foster, that's who it was. Jodie Foster, right? And the whole punchline was that she went there, and they from a camera standpoint, she just dropped all the way through and nothing happened. She fell in the water. But then when they pulled the footage of the video, it was like, you know, 45 minutes or 4 hours. Contact, yeah. 8 hours of footage or whatever.
Don't go full circle, but you know, Matthew McConaughey in Aliens, it's really making sense now.
Yeah.
Because he was in that too. He was a scientist, actually.
Well, it's because he is an alien.
I'm a scientist.
Yeah, it was Contact. That's
that
right.
movie had a great should we
yeah.
go to spoiler alert there?
Dude, that movie's like 20 years old.
So what?
I have not seen it.
I
am culturally irrelevant. If it is not, all my references are from like the 90s. If it's not Paw Patrol or Octonauts, like I don't know anything about it.
Nothing.
I think that was a Michael Crichton book, wasn't it?
I think so.
One of those,
yeah.
But that's a fantastic twist. She essentially, she was the only one that understood or knew that. No, but the cool part was when they went back to review her.
That's what I'm saying. The tape.
Yeah. The tape. It had
and it was 8 hours of fuzz.
8 hours of fuzz. Yeah.
Right, but they didn't tell anybody. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember that? Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, remember that.
That was a good movie. Okay. Well, because like I think the whole cinema thing and like science fiction thing, like I still think that that's really heavy when it comes to technology. That like I don't know, like I'm a firm believer in that, like kind of the imagination of sci-fi is what actually pushes the agenda of technology forward.
I was just thinking that, like
right,
Star Trek.
Right, like Star Trek, like, you know, Back to the Future, Star Wars, like the old comic books of the 50s and 60s.
As the number one Back to the Future fan on the planet, I can tell you that there's nothing from that they will ever use. No one's sitting around trying to make a flux capacitor, much to my chagrin. And
they made those Nikes though.
Oh yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they
cost you $3,000.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm never gonna be able to wear them. But with Star Trek, we actually have made a lot. I mean, the original Star Trek, they had handheld devices to communicate, which people thought was outlandish.
Yep.
And that actually ended up becoming a reality.
Yep.
But someone had to think of that idea first, and that's pretty cool. I know that's what's really neat. Disney used to have some of this on display. You can still see some of it, but back when they used to have the in the future, back in like 1950s, of what it would be like nowadays, we should already have our flying cars. right? We should already all have our, like the Jetsons. We should have like our robot.
Or not Mission Space. The spaceship. What the
Wheel of
ball.
Progress. The
big
Carousel of
ball
Progress.
in
No, not the
What
Carousel of
what is it
Progress.
called?
That thing is, I hate that ride, Carousel of Progress.
It's
That damn automatronic dog. Broop, broop, broop. And his ears flop 3 times, and I just want to shoot him in the. I mean, yeah, like it's the space Earth, spaceship Earth,
Earth.
right?
There you go.
Right. Yeah.
It's just always been really off. Actually, futurists. And now we're talking about futurists,
Right.
which is a real job. You can have a job that basically just you try to predict whatever the hell we're coming up with next.
Yep.
Steven Spielberg hired a ton of them for Minority Report. So if you watch Minority Report, it was supposed to be as close to the future as it could be. And think about it, that came out before your iPad.
Right.
And he was actually doing that
Tablet.
that tablet style
Touch
stuff on the
screen
walls.
move,
Another thing that they predicted was the cars that were auto driving, where he got in his vehicle and they all went in a perfect direction automatically. They weren't human controlled. And that's something that they're actually looking like. Tesla's doing it to a degree. But there's not an infrastructure in place for it because we still have paved roads.
Right.
There are people that are using sensors to actually read the lines in the road and the reflectors in the road to make it so everybody's car can follow it along with each other's cars.
Yeah.
And if everybody's doing that uniformly, everyone goes the same speed.
And
There's
solar
no more traffic.
solar power roads as well, like solar power. Have you seen that yet?
I heard about that.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. But yeah, same thing. It's just like, but so
Movies
you
and sci-fi sort of dictate that
right.
future.
So you still firmly believe in that's human progress. That's us imagining things, and that there's no alien push technology-wise to get us there.
Well, maybe not, because Minority Report stars Tom Cruise, and
He's also an alien.
He's an alien.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay.
He's gonna get his own planet one day.
Right.
We all know that. No. I'm a believer that there's something out there. I mean, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of technology and grounded in like what science has in store for us. So I don't know what the next big leap is going to be. I think it's going to be, like I said, like the space age. It's going to be us being able to make those trips that allow us to go colonize, and that's going to be pretty cool. I mean, it's not going to be in our lifetime, but
Yeah. All right, Mike.
Yeah, I'm still with the like cadence of technology that's under Moore's law, and where we'll be 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, could very well be, to Daniel's point, like outside of Earth and exploring well beyond whatever we were capable to at this point. But I think the technology that we've leveraged so far, like I think it's human design.
that was not a mic response. Can I do a mic response?
Yeah, go for it.
We're going to meet these alien bastards. They're going to be kind of pissed off and be attacking us for no reason. But once we get a Windows 95 computer and download a virus onto their mothership, they will be defenseless. Thank you, Jeff Goldblum.
Right, exactly.
We're getting them. Get it, America.
With a thumb drive of the Badger's virus. Badger. Mushroom.
Alien technology, advanced stuff, but he's over there with his AOL online.
Cyan cat.
Exactly, right.
Cyan cat for everybody.
All right. Well, no, I don't know. I don't know. I think there's some type of meddling that's happened. I don't know when. I don't know how. But somewhere
why is it the
in
US
history.
government? So, like, an alien could have landed anywhere in the planet.
Yep.
But why are all these conspiracy theories about the U.S. government? Like, it must be us, right?
Wait.
Like, could have landed anywhere, but it landed in North America, U.S., in the middle of the desert in Nevada.
I don't know. I mean, it could have been anywhere, right?
If an alien lands and his ass is in the middle of Magic Kingdom, like, okay, we all know this now, but it's like at 1 a.m. in the desert. I don't know. It's just a little too good to be true.
There are way too few faces to bite off in the middle of the desert in Nevada. You gotta pick up a more
worse.
lively target.
Wait. So in your hypothetical dream alien world, the killer alien lands in Magic Kingdom, and he's just chomping kids' faces off.
You said it. I just started going from there.
Yeah.
It made a lot of sense.
Just jumping around, snatches Pluto's head off.
Yes. Because he's from Pluto. That's what makes it ironic.
Big, beautiful tomorrow.
It'd be a lot more exciting than if he landed in the desert and saw a cactus.
and bit the cactus's face off.
Wait, did we just
They
come up
had
with a
to go
movie?
home.
Mike,
Thorns in his
you need to
tongue.
pitch that movie. It's aliens in theme parks. It's just like they land in the theme park and they all think it's an attraction until it starts eating their faces.
Yes.
Yes, listen, I wanted one of those, like, whatever battle rifle, whatever they had in the movie Aliens so bad when I was a kid, the little selector switch. Like, we're going full auto on these aliens right now. Come on, man. That was cool.
Yeah, that was a good time. That was a good time. No, it's, I don't know. I don't know. I think there's meddling. There's something going on. I don't know, like...
You're like Men in Black?
No, I don't know.
Brain flashed?
No, I don't think we're getting brain flash or like red light. I just think that somewhere in time, and I don't know if it's something that happens like every millennia or whatever the case is. I think somewhere in time there was some type of meddling, and I don't know if it was like people were here and they left, and then the people that were left here kind of like had to re-up everything again. It's just awkward. It's weird.
Well, but what if... All right, so you want to go down the other rabbit hole of conspiracy theories. What if at some point in the future, someone was able to successfully travel time, came back, meddled, and then is actually back in the future?
Sure.
I mean, that's meddling just of our own design, but from who knows when in the future.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know about meddling. Is to be honest, like, there's some crazy theories out there, because when you start saying meddling, and you start getting like really big into like, again, the existential version of like aliens, then it gets into like, like cogito ergo sum, like the I think therefore I am, and all you know is I am me, like that I am myself. Then you can get into the Matrix, like everything I know around, like right now, whoever's listening to this, you could be in a computer program. This could all be fake. And you don't know that because you only know yourself and what you are out of your own two eyes. Everything around you could be a fabrication. It's all sensory. So once you start getting into that rabbit hole, then it starts getting really crazy if you start to look at all the theories out there. Because if there's meddlers, who's to say right now that you're not unconscious on a table thinking this is all happening?
Right. No, I agree. Right.
We're going down the conspiracy theory rabbit hole for real.
But
Tom's calling us crazy right now.
Right.
We're calling Tom DeLonge crazy. He's like, me.
But Tom believes that these aliens have the ability to take your time. He actually talks about time travel. Yeah. So if that's possible, then they have the ability to maybe warp your presence of thought. So maybe this is something that we are believing. And it's weird. Like, I've read some weird stuff. Sometimes you go on that weird internet rabbit hole like you did with...
Yep.
Apparently you spent a whole afternoon...
Yeah.
Skipping meals and chugging Red Bulls and on the computer. But so when I started thinking of that, okay, like to reference Men in Black, I thought that first movie was so cool because as a kid I'm watching that, and then it ended with our universe, our galaxy, as a marble in a locker in an alien's airport.
Right.
And I thought, that is so cool. Like, that kind of blew my mind, because we always think the arrogance of humanity, we think we're top of the food chain. Man, we could be like you said, cattle. We could be the alien cattle.
Right.
We don't know that.
Right. No. The other part, too, I think from a sensory standpoint, is that we have plenty of science that tells you that your sensories can be wrong, that your senses can be wrong. That visually, like the reason why, like the ways that certain things are designed on paper that mess with your eyesight, like all that type of there's things that are like your vision, your sense of smell, sense of touch. All these things are not as accurate as because of our hubris that we think they are.
Yeah.
Well, think about the most simple example that I can remember to that point is like when you're a little kid and you're hauling ass down the street and eat it. And you're like, oh, I'm good, I'm fine, I'm good. You look down and your knee is just bleeding, and then all of a sudden, instantaneously, it hurts.
Right,
but until that moment, you had no idea you were even hurt.
Right.
Now, you could go into the physiology of like shock and all of this kind of stuff, but at the same time, is it perception of knowing the fact that you're hurt actually make it hurt, as much as it is the actual physical act of getting hurt?
Yeah, right. Interesting. Aliens, bro.
Eating faces. That's all. Going back to the face eating.
Yeah. The meme guy with the crazy hair. Aliens.
Aliens, bro.
You know what I don't get, though? Why, if this is something that has a lot of claims, there's a lot of conspiracy stuff, where did all the butt probing stuff come from? No, but
That's a different episode.
Are we still talking about aliens?
that's a different podcast. It has nothing to do with Life of Lozo.
Exactly.
But like literally, if I were to do a Steve Harvey, what's the show he does? Family Feud or what
Family
is it?
Feud, yeah.
Family Feud, and they would say name things that have to do with aliens. What's the first thing they'd say on the timer?
Spaceships, UFOs.
But 3 or 4, someone's gonna say butt probing. You know that's gonna happen, and you're gonna get points for it.
Yeah.
You're gonna get points for it. He's gonna say, "Show me butt probing." You get like 20 points right there. Your family gives you high fives. High fives. Your dad gives you a high five on butt probing.
You get high fives for butt probes.
Because you got that family 20 points.
You heard it here first. we're gonna take just that one little audio clip from this show, and that's what we're gonna get. My dad gives me high fives for butt probes.
Endless possibilities. Where that audio clip will live.
But it's true. That means though that there was some point where like the news or the police had to be, because for something to become a stereotype, it has to become prevalent, or it has to be the majority of times, right? So that means that cops or something had to be like, what's the deal with these random people in this alien butt probe story? Like, so that's really what throws me off. I don't know like the origin of that. Maybe it's a movie, some comic book. I don't know.
Well, here's what I've determined through the conversation thus far. Whenever we meet said alien, what we can expect is they are a face-eating, butt-probing meddler.
That's the next alien movie.
Done.
Ridley Scott hasn't made that one yet, but he's about to. He's about to.
What's the acronym for that? Face-eating, butt-probing meddler. Face
FEBPA.
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 He's a meddler. FEBPEM. Damn FEBPEMs. All up in my business.
Okay, so I think we got some good stuff there. I think we cleared it up quite a bit. I think anybody listening to this show is completely clear on the existence of aliens and what's going on.
Left no room for doubt in anyone's mind.
Hide your kids, hide your wives,
right.
and hide your butts.
Right. If you are looking to take this journey of about a good solid 5 hours of distraction one day, just start with the Joe Rogan, Tom DeLonge podcast, and then fact check, because that's what happened to me. That's what I did. I fact checked everything he said to see, like, are these people real? Did this really happen? Is this technology out there?
How much came back like true?
A lot.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of, especially just around the technology piece of like when he would be like, no, like this exists. I do this right now, right? Or like this element is out there. Okay, and like all the things that he was talking about, like those parts were very, very real. As far as the who's involved, very, very real. Those people actually exist. They've done what they've done. But again, I think to Mike's point earlier, like he's very upfront of like, this is an entertainment business and this is my part of it. It's what I'm doing. So I don't know, like they're going to release some stuff. I guess we're going to check it out and see what happens. So
I just wanted to do your listeners a favor, because ain't nobody got time for that fact check. Lorenzo did it for you. It's real. Aliens are real. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You can save your day. Don't have to fact check it. Just trust the man.
Just send me a check.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'll send you some photos
of you in front of the computer.
Right, exactly. Fact checking. Right, exactly. All right. Well, thanks for being on the show, guys. It was a great conversation. I'm glad we cleared it all up. Yep.
Yes,
Life of Lozo, and we are out of here. Peace. The Life of Lozo podcast is brought to you by Stay Tuned Studios, STS Podcast, The Taylor Shop Inc., 03 Productions, The Beat Brigade, Rhyme Designs Clothing, Ronz Wood Guitars, The Music Experience, Custom Shirts and more, The Local Goods Market, The Art of Kyle Willis, The Josh Saman MMA Foundation, TheMishmash.com, and of course, Jack's Nutrition. If you enjoyed the episode, please like, share, friend, whatever, tell everybody about it. We appreciate the love and support. And we will definitely keep this thing going, y'all. Talk to you next time. Peace.